So I was since I'm an avid fan of DC and Marvel, like I have a bunch of DC and Marvel books. I don't know if it's 1,000 or so in my closet there. And I grew up with those two companies, like Batman. Like I was doing some Wikipedia research on Champion on various characters like Batman and uh, low key Batman villains like Bone Crusher and Metalhead, from the Nightfall series, because that's a particular time I was really into comics. And I noted, and I just thought, why do these small companies not this one, Milestone doesn't actually, it doesn't, it doesn't count because it's part of DC. But like Image Comics and Impact Comics and these smaller off off branch companies like even Dark Horse Comics. Why aren't they as effective as DC and Marvel? And I thought about it, and it's the size of the company and the size of the characters. Like the universe in DC and Marvel are so large that that the characters have to coincide in that reality, and they have to do it daily. It can't, like, the cities are made out and everything, and they can't just and it can't be just like a cliche crossover. It has to be like a story arc or something where their superheroes can meet up for a crossover, or you know versus like Thanos, or versus Darkseid, whatever. And those companies are so large that they have the ability to do that. While the Image comics, you don't see like um, you won't see someone like something like Wildcats, go up to New York and help Spawn out, like Superman does with Batman, whatever, or Fantastic Four does with Spider Man. They can do that regularly in DC Marvel books because the company's so old and the characters are so elaborate. And I also think because the characters are made you know original as original characters, like you won't see Shadowhawk from Image Comics meet up with you know Wildcats to help them out, because their Shadowhawk has like his own, like, the company of Image just didn't expand fast enough, and Shadowhawk had to be confined to his own world and his own reality. And I also thought, DC Comics and Marvel Comics, all the characters are taken. Like, if you look at Shadowhawk, like, there are many Shadowhawks in Marvel. Like, there's probably like Thrasher from, there's Cloak and Dagger. There are many Black Batman like characters in DC and Marvel. And, it's also a cultural thing. Like, both of those companies, they pervade the cultures of they pervade uh, each culture with their superhero. Like I know Batman's probably really up there with the iconic starter of it all. But every uh, every DC Marvel comics has its own ethnicity with its own comics. That's why they work so well. Um, because they originated from mythology, and they took those ideas from the ancient world and stuff first, and then they put it on the mainstream. And if a company follows that, like Dark Horse or those other companies, that they're gonna have problems, or they're gonna have a smaller thing to work with. They're like Impact Comics kind of did that, where the superheroes met together, but it kind of just faded, because with Impact Comics, that there just weren't enough superheroes, and that they just couldn't expand from Archie Comics. And I don't know how to type. But I thought Impact Comics also had some good characters, like the Fly and the Web and stuff. They were original too, but they were original in the sense that like Amalgam. It just in a sense that anyone could have created them. They weren't original, like in a historical sense, or in a nobody a nobody becomes like a somebody, or like in a psychological sense. That's what DC and Marvel were good at. Um, See, there's only a small group of characters to work with here, and this company, it tried that, where they had many crossovers and stuff. It just didn't work. The world of the company was too small. So I mean, Spawn tried that in Impact Comics, and it just veered its attention away from that, and centralized it on his own world, which worked very well. And I had Spawn 1 through 50 or something, so I liked to read that book in particular. But Spawn, uh, it Image started selling characters like Angela and stuff, which I thought was like an iconic character for Spawn. But now Marvel owns Angela, which may or may not work. But you get why the characters in Marvel and DC are better, is because of you know not because they're buying other people's ideas or anything. It's just naturally works as a whole universe. Um, so yeah, but I particularly thought Angela number 9 worked really well with Angela, the character worked really well with the Spawn series. Uh, who knows? Maybe Marvel will buy Spawn, or those other companies like there's one character that I remember Alan Moore made, that I thought was a cliche UK superhero or something that could have worked for DC or Marvel. Marvel Man. Like I thought, Marvel Man could could have like some sort of lawsuit. Like it just didn't make sense. Marvel Man and Marvel doesn't own that. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, that's basically my point. Is DC and Marvel covers all facets of reality. Like they cover the greater cosmic alien sci-fi fantasy themes. They cover the you know down to earth villain versus hero themes. They cover discrimination like the X Men. They cover mythology like Thor, and they cover. They also cover. They cover like aliens like being introduced into society like Martian Manhunter or something, and they also cover like you kind of get a sense of one not being complete without the other. Like time travel is like and mythology is really a strong point in Marvel. Whilst in DC, it's kind of like aliens uh, and and, and like godly and god powers like for instance, I always thought Atlantis was a stronger theme in DC, whilst both have that type of theme. I thought I also thought DC had a really strong point on like not on the Marvel has a strong point on a lot of categories like cosmic beings, uh, discrimination, um, but DC also has a lot of points um, on historical uh, historical facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, I was I tell you why. Because I don't know. I think about it. Let's say you get a brand new moped. You get home, you find you have a flat tire. Next day, you be pissed, right? You pay
Yeah.
$1,000. Well, I just paid the tire. Came out $90. And you said all labor, all this shit. I thought I'll be good for years, right? For months.
Yeah.
And
So you got a chip on your rim. You're saying, or the rim could be oblong from weight.
Whatever. You know, the shit's 15 years old. You hit the curb so many times. But the mechanic, they're professional. They've been doing it for 25 years. I said to myself, I never heard of it. How can a chip on the rim cause leak, right?
No, you'd be surprised because my it's very hard to catch those things. Like my back tire, my electromagnetic moped, it's not electric, is it comes loose. The axle, because the axle isn't tight enough and the bearings are stripped.
Let me tell you why. Let me explain to you. Look. So it's simple. You see the rim like this, right? It's like this, right? Okay. the metal has to be perfect, has to be flush to rubber. When the rubber goes against it, it has to be completely flush. It has to be like make sure.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I'm thinking, okay, the rim is chipped, so basically the metal is bent a little bit, right? But you know, when I looked at it, you can see the chips out. Guess what? They're tiny little chips, right? Maybe 1/10 of an inch. You know, the chip is tiny little pieces of metal. Like you can say the metal's kind of bent, a little curvy, right? It's tiny.
Yeah.
But the thing, like R1280, the bumpers are maybe 2 inches off the ground. You hear a sound, it was like boom. You know what I'm saying? Like you sit in the car super quiet, but the sound it was like this loud, it was like this, like the whole car could shake. I hit the
Yeah.
pothole 80 miles an hour. That could have fattened.
Yeah, that could have that could.
Chipped it.
Do you see the chip or?
Yeah, you can see the chip. It's over the edges. They're
Yeah.
very small. So that could have done it.
Yeah,
And
that could
since
that
it's
could
15
do
years
it.
old, you know,
Can you
far-
repair the chip?
No, you can't. The guy told me the only thing you can do is buy a new wheel. That's what I'm looking for.
Because if it's oblong, then yeah. But if you can repair
Hello?
that chip,
Hey, can you tell Igor if you want to work at 7:40 and tell him to
Yeah,
bring the
sure.
credit card now? Because I don't deal with mentalism inside the men. Hey, can you tell him to bring the card?